You know, you start second guessing a lot of things. You look at film. You start second guessing what happened on the field. And you know, you hate losing.
How much do you put yourself through watching that again? How agonizing is that?
I compare it to other plays similar to those plays that happened during that game and through the course of the year, and try to come to a rational conclusion of what the expectation should have been.
You're talking about the return, the bank's return, and you've looked at...
I didn't say that.
Okay.
But yes, that's what I'm referring to.
Okay. So,
In referring to that, we know that you didn't want to comment about it after the game, and I'm sure you probably won't want to comment about it now, but have you approached the league about it?
No, not yet, but I will. And look, we can't get that or other plays back. It is what it is. We're going to focus on how to improve our football team first and foremost in this organization, and things that's under my control. I'm going to work really hard at improving, and then we need to focus, I think, as a collective across the league to get the league better.
Ken, what will you say when you approach the league? Because in that particular special teams play, and like you said, it happens in almost every special teams play, a penalty. But in that particular one, it appeared that it was a penalty. So what do you have to say to the league about that?
I think there'd be differing opinions on that, on the assumption that it was a penalty. I think there would be. Can't say that for sure, but I think there would be. It's not really going to be that focus. It's going to be a focus on how to make sure that we're playing under rules that are easily applied, more simply applied, more simply officiated, make the game easier to officiate in all areas, and improve the quality of the play on the football field. That should be our focus.
is the issue the fact that that's a judgment call, that there's discretion there? Is that part of the...
Well, I think there's discretion in every call. The question is what is the discretion based on?
Right.
What is the standard of the rule? What is the interpretation of the rule? What is the consistent application of the rule? Any rule. And where there isn't consistency, where there's potentially a lack of consistency, too much interpretation, not enough black and white, in any area of the game, I'm on record as saying that needs to be cleaned up, and we need to make rules more black and white, more easy to, even if we don't like the rule, as managers, as coaches, it will help the game.
Ken, do you think the league is seriously going to look at that?
At what?
At making those types of changes, taking out that gray area? That's your hope, obviously, but do you think they will?
I think they better.
When you look it over, and I know you have, because I know what you're like, do you think that it's called because it's almost at the point of contact? Like it's the first player in.
At the point of what contact? That player had no chance of tackling Speedy. Is that what you're asking?
That's what I'm asking.
He had no chance of getting him.
One thing that stood out for me in your post-game comments was that when you said that improvements need to be made, that they need to be made because it could change lives. What did you mean by that?
I think in any profession, it's not just specific to the CFL. I think in any profession, any industry that you're in, where you can make improvements that have a tangible impact on somebody's career, meaning that this improvement will help somebody build a career, a player, a coach, an administrator, the business side, whatever, as it relates to our league. Anything that we can do in that area that gives more certainty in that process, more certainty in that the quality and skills that you bring, that you drive, have more of an impact of the bottom line, meaning of your evaluation, what you get evaluated on, is a good thing. And that's what we need to drive and where we should be going.
Does this loss hurt more than other losses you've had in championship games?
Well, I've only had one other one, so I don't mean it that way. What I'm saying is I'm bringing that up to compare it to
Last year.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because it was in Saskatchewan, and a place that has meant a lot to me in my past and my family. So they both hurt. Losses like this, unfortunately, you'll take with you for the rest of your life. I know it's just a game, but it's something that we're heavily invested in, and it's our vocation, and we're in it for a reason, and the disappointment really is is more for the staff and for the players. I hate it for them.
Is how you lost part of, does it affect how you feel about it, right? The fact that it changed on a call as opposed to,
Well, there was other calls that should have and could have been made that could have impacted the game as well. The issue is the level of consistency there. In whatever area we're talking about, is the level of consistency there. That's what needs to be looked at. And if it is, great. And if it isn't, it needs to be changed.
You were a passionate player. You're a passionate coach. Are you happy with how the players have reacted after that and become a team, considering that could have gone two
We
ways?
were a team before then. We'll be a team afterwards. We got a great group of guys. Really proud of these men. Coaching staff and the players have really done an unbelievable job. We didn't get it done, and we're just one of 8 teams that didn't win the championship now. We're in the same category as everybody else. But the accomplishments and how far we've come, we're on the right track, and it's because of the quality of those guys.
Exit interviews begin now, looking towards free agency right
Mhm.
away.
Mhm.
Lots of decisions to make.
Right.
I know you don't want to single out any specific players, I'm sure, but
That had to be Stephen McGee.
Bingo.
could be. I think he's okay. Lots of potential on your O-line for free agency to play a role. Lots of possibilities everywhere.
Mhm.
Just your, I guess, impressions heading into this free agent market, knowing there's a lot of key players out there.
Yeah, we'll do our standard process. We'll evaluate our own free agents, not just them, but the depth in that particular position, and then we'll evaluate all of the available free agents across the league. We have a process for doing that, and then we'll piece the puzzle together accordingly.
When does that begin? Or has
Right
it?
away. Yeah, we had a
Thanks.
meeting on it today.
Sorry, Banks has been obviously an explosive player for you. Is that somebody that in your mind you want back, or do you have a chance at getting him back?
We absolutely want him back. If you look at the last 3 must-win games, he put, one got called back, but he put 5 in the end zone, counting the Ottawa game. I don't know anybody that's done that in the history of football. I don't know anybody that's done that. It may not ever be done again. And so, yeah, we want him back.
You have made a lot of changes over the last 2 seasons, sort of getting the roster that you wanted.
Mhm.
Do you feel that this group of players is closer to what your team?
Yeah, we're definitely closer.
than what
Yeah, I think we are. But some of that gets impacted. You know, you mentioned free agency. You know, if we lose some guys to free agency, then that obviously, which we don't want to happen, you know, that will impact things and cause more transition again. So we'll just have to see. You know, but we have an evaluation process that we believe in, and we'll determine based on that process on what changes, if any, we need to have.
Would it be fair to say that Tasker would be among those
Mhm.
players that you'd like to see back?
Absolutely.
Given how-
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and so you know we'll see how it goes. I mean, it's the profession we're in, and there's going to be change every year. It doesn't matter which football team you're talking about. There's going to be change. Our job is to make sure that when the change occurs, if it does occur, that we're still in a position to be competitive and compete for a championship.
Knowing the great changes that you made in last year's offseason, is it fair to say in a general sense that you'd like to keep this team as intact as possible, knowing the success that you had this season?
Yeah, we knew when we took over that there was going to be a lot of transition. There's going to be a lot of change, and that it was going to go through several iterations because you're not always right, and then injuries play a factor. A lot of things play a factor. Ratio is a factor, and how you manage the ratio. All of those things, among a lot of other things, determine how you piece the roster together and how many iterations you have to go through to get to a point to where you have enough versatility week in and week out to be competitive. And there's growing pains because of that. As we believe in trying to make as many of those changes and looks down the hole, if you will, early, as opposed to later in the year. And you know, some may not agree that that could be risky, but that's the model that we've used. So hopefully we're closer to getting to the point of a level of continuity which we desire than we were, this a year ago or this past year.
So you would prefer, I mean, you did both seasons, right? Ran through a bunch of guys on the roster to try and find the right guys you want to.
A lot of that didn't have anything to do with us.
Yeah,
So.
some of it was certainly injury related.
Right.
But so you would prefer, though, in an ideal situation, to do less of that next year, given that you've had two.
Yeah, absolutely. As long as the depth and breadth of our talent is where we want it to be.
Right. Okay. Given that you've been to 2 straight Grey Cups now, is that an enticing nugget for not only free agents on your team, but other free agents to say, Hamilton is a good place to be?
I hope it transcends just going to a championship. I think it should be an evaluation of the entire organization, the quality of our players, our coaches, the quality of the business, the guys that are running this business, and Bob and Scott, the quality of the people that we have throughout the organization. I think is allure and attractive. I mean, you want to work for good people. I certainly know I do, and I think others see that, and I think. When players and others, speak of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, I think authentically you would find in most cases that they would speak very highly of the way it's run here.
Is that stuff that fans don't see more valuable than they know? That off-field stuff?
I can't speak, for the fan base. I know what we believe in philosophically, internally, and what we're going to stay focused on, and I think we're building it the right way. We have our mistakes. We're going to make mistakes. Things aren't going to be perfect, but we have a group of individuals across the board on both sides that will learn from the mistakes, and we'll try to get better, and we'll constantly center on best practices and everything that we do, and have our hearts in the right place.